A small group, after a great deal of research by our great leader Cameron, permission letters from the Chinese authorities, and a great amount of beer, decided to ride through some of the toughest terrain in Central Asia. We would ride from Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan, up the Karakoram Highway into China, turn right at Kashgar and traverse China's Highway 219. A few weeks later we'd turn right again down into Nepal to Katmandu, having ridden a total distance of around 3,600 kilometres. We needed reliable, low-tech bikes that could easily be fixed on the side of the road. We chose the Suzuki 650 DR. It turned out to be an excellent choice. We bought 6 of them and shipped them new from New Zealand to Islamabad. Let me introduce our team. Here's our great leader, Cameron Shaw, and then we have our favourite Australian, Colleen Subir, who's been on many trips with us before and is an absolute stalwart. This is Rex, the crazy one, and this is Graham, Cameron's brother, who can't ride a bike and had to travel in the truck. The titan of technical matters, Tony Anderson, the bane of the Chinese authorities, Bruce Mann, and Saeed, our guide while we were in Pakistan, and then your faithful scribe, Chris Parkin. Every truck and bus is highly decorated. Very little in the way of brakes or lights or any other safety features, but plenty of colour and always overloaded. The typical street scene in any Pakistani town is so lively, a mixture of old technology and very old technology.
This is looking towards the gates of our hotel in Islamabad. Every house along the road has a guard and similar sort of gates with fearsome looking barbed wire and crunched up glass bits embedded in the top of the wall. And
it's a lovely breakfast.
Here's the wonderful Colleen, all the way fresh from Australia. Now what have you got to say for yourself, Colleen, about today, the first day of our...
To get back on a bike would be really good. To get back on a bike and not fall off a bike would be even better.
Very cool. The guy in the middle, Saeed, very nice fellow, and he's the one that's going to be looking after us through the Shendur Pass and all the way up to the border. The first problem we've got is that the bikes are in storage at Islamabad airport, and they seem to have added another $2,000 on the bill to get them out. So no doubt some baksheesh is going to be in order. This is the start of our trip to the Khyber Rifles. Those 2 berets down there are our armed guard. We're going to see bloodshed today.
Hopefully not ours.
Rex is very concerned that it might be his. Very much a man's town. I think it's very much a man's country. You don't see too many.
The guy would just be taken out and shot.
Awful lot of refugees in this area. We've just passed a huge refugee camp. Here's our guard coming back, having presented our bit of paper. There he is, he's got a big gun. This is getting up towards the Khyber Pass.
That'd be an aid project.
As you can see, it's very, very dry country. But when the rain does come, it obviously comes quite heavily, as you can see from the riverbed. Soldiers.
Is that a British fort?
Yeah. That's called Kashgar Fort. Believe it or not, down there there's trucks.
Trucks for Africa.
All the way, see, lines and lines and lines of trucks, all trying to get into Afghanistan. There must be thousands of trucks here. And this is the fort at the top of the Khyber Pass. It's the Pakistani flag. Oh, what have we here? It's Cameron and Tony. Both enjoying the sights. We're heading back down now.
We finally succeeded in extracting our bikes from customs by repeating that we were Kiwis, not Americans. We pretended to make cricket strokes and finally they got the message. At that, the boss man stopped cutting his toenails and realised we were not Americans and we should actually be helped.
Here we are, back at our Shiraz Hotel. Our very first day, everybody got lost and we end up with a police escort. Anyway, here we all are under a shade tree. We're about to be taken by this group of police onto the next district, and then they'll hand us over to another group of police who will take us on to the next district. And so it goes. It's the guy we met up with on the road, seems to be going the same direction as us. His name's Peter. There you go. Have you ever seen such a contented cow? Look at that. Yeah, look, he wants his picture taken. Look. All forms of transport again. Very happy? Are you really happy?
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Everything's going all right?
We have a special protocol.
Good. It's good because
Police
escort. Not bad, eh?
With a siren,
I saw that. That was cool, eh? The siren. We felt really important. You notice everyone get off the street? It's fantastic.
Graham says this is not good. Let us go free.
Yeah. It's not dangerous though, really.
It is not dangerous though, but never know, when
I think that.
some people
everyone seems so friendly.
air.
Everyone seems so friendly.
Yeah.
We've still got a police escort. Everybody's happy. You can see Tony's really happy because he's enjoying the sunshine. Really, really enjoying this. And Cameron's looking very cool, you can see. He's very enjoying this. And Bruce is definitely enjoying this. I can tell that Bruce is really, really enjoying this. And Colleen's enjoying it too. And this is the Swat River. Spelt just like a fly swat. Like it's got sort of reasonable amount of water in it, really. And these are the local constabulary who are all checking us as a checkpoint just to make sure we're not terrorists.
Get that jersey out of your bag for you?
Have a look at the bike here. But there's the Swat Valley. Al Qaeda, they're up there somewhere. They had a bomb go off just recently, just in this area, killed 30 people. Suicide bomber. I'm just going to take a shot of everyone coming around this gravel road. I don't know where these bikes are. Maybe I'm lost. Maybe I've come the wrong way. Well, there's absolutely no sign of them at all. I don't know what I'm going to do. I better go back, I suppose. Bugger! Now I know why they didn't come. Cameron's got a flat tyre. First one of our trip. Looks like Peter, our new friend, has the matter under control. Here's a big hammer. Oh, look at that. Peter's obviously done this before. Best entertainment in town.
You might like to...
This is a reporter doing a report on our
You were
visit.
there.
Yeah?
We all.
You are in Kailash Valley.
No, we are going to.
You are going to Kailash Valley.
Yeah, on 15th. They have
He's
to
our
come.
guy.
Oh yes, we are also going there and we will meet there inshallah.
But thanks to this gentleman from Germany, he has been traveling for the last 8 years.
Well done, Peter.
8 years. He 8 years on the road.
So
There's the reporter off on his way. Copy deadline.
Off they go.
Oh,
Deadline,
there he
deadline.
goes. There. Here they come. Here come the bikers. They're all coming through. There comes some more. Well, we finally got here. Everybody is absolutely shagged, I tell you. It's been a long day, even though we come just over 200 k's. How are you? This is one of the local villages. Do you live here? He lives here. And what is your name?
Nazib.
Your name?
Name?
Yeah, name.
Nazib.
Ah, Nazib. Here's two little boys from the local tribe. Here comes another one up behind just to see what's going on. I'm taking their picture now. See what's happening. This is the other side of the valley, looking down the river. Even up here people are impatient. These houses are pretty typical of what you find in the mountain villages. Stuck up on the sides of the cliff. This is fairly typical of this valley, just beautiful rushing water, clean as a whistle. Not sure I drink it, but I'm sure it's as clean as a whistle. Here's all the bikers having a rest, getting ready to go again on our quest for adventure. This is all part of the Hindu Kush, and you can see it's just absolutely beautiful as we come down into the valley. You see the little swing bridge? Access for this little community up on the side of the hill here. Just people living everywhere. Here's Bruce attempting the first difficult water crossing. Bruce, bud. There we go. That's it. Give it a swing. Here comes Tony. Yes, he's through, no problem. Ooh, come on, let's get it to him. Yay! Come on! Go for it! Yes! Yeah! Whoa! Go! Yes! Go! We made it! Cool! Classic! Drama unfolding at every minute as another vehicle tries to overtake him and does so successfully. Woohoo! He's alright, he's good. That's our car. Give it a heat, give it go, 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 go! Yes! Woo! And here come the Austrian tourists. You won't believe this place. Look at this. These are unbelievable. Give you an idea of how high we are, here is our first glacier. Comes all the way down from up there somewhere. Now Cameron, there seems to be a bit of a problem here. You seem to have mud all over you. Now what happened here?
Well, lesson number one.
Right.
When Colleen had stopped by the side of the road in front of a big muddy patch,
Yeah.
well, the lesson is that you stop, basically, and you take stock.
So you don't...
Why she has stopped there.
Right. You don't actually try and
just
pass her in
go-
the mud.
No.
Otherwise, this is what happens to you.
Yeah, you go down in the mud.
Right. Now Peter's also fallen off his bike and hurt himself just a little bit. But no damage, just a little bit of mud as you can
This
see.
will be,
Except he hurt his foot. His ankle's a bit sore.
this will be Brucey, baby.
Pannier fell on it, so
Yeah.
just there. See, showing the seat. Very good. Looks alright to me.
Yeah, fall off
I'm
twice.
carrying a lot of weight on this bike, which probably doesn't help in this mud. Here comes one of the classic trucks. We just parked down below the pass, which I think is just up there, and we've come down here, down here, down here, down here, somewhere there. Here we are, all just lining up for the team photo. Here we go. I don't think you've seen a switchback before. Take a look at this one. Look at this, it just goes down and down and down and down. And this is Chip Trail, isn't it beautiful? Just absolute emerald green. As far as the eye could see. Hindu Kush Mountains in the distance. As you can see, our hotel had something of an oasis, just a delightful garden. This is the doorman and security guard at our hotel in Chitral, and as you can see, he's heavily armed. This is the main street in Chitral. The local custom is if a couple are found to be having any sort of a relationship that hasn't been arranged by their parents, even as much as a smile in the wrong place or a lingering eye, then it's the duty of the father of the girl or one of her brothers to kill her, and it's the duty of the father of the guy or one of his uncles to kill him. And apparently that goes on here quite regularly. These tribal areas are outside Pakistani law. They're ruled as sort of sheikdoms basically, and yes, they're generally described as lawless, and they mean lawless. This is the Kailash Valley, or one of the three. It's sort of like a hidden valley. To get here you come through this incredible gorge, and you would never imagine there's anything here, and when you get here it's absolutely lush and beautiful. It's quite dusty. That stuff around his mouth is not his beard. I have to say the road up here is none too easy, and we've only done about 34 kilometres, but so far it's taken us about an hour and a half. There's a big move on to promote tourism in this area, as there's only about 3,000 of these Kailash people left. It's actually a cultural centre donated by the Greeks, because there's some belief that these people are descended from the army of Alexander the Great. And apparently, in addition to housing a museum, it houses a hospital for women to have their babies, and a library and a museum and all this other stuff. So good for the Greeks, I say. This is the festival that we've come to see. Wonderful faces, so much expression. Disco time! They're really motoring now. Really into it. Oh, and I've got some men as well. Which I think the men are pissed. Oh, look, lots of circles now. Now you see how we blend in here? See this? See, you can hardly see that that's one of our party there until we zoom in. Yes, it's Cameron! Look at that in his shalwar kameez. This is why it's so difficult to get to these valleys. You can sort of see what the practical problems are. It's a beautiful morning here in Chitral, and we're just heading away towards those mountains in the distance, further up the Kabul River, which you can see is very muddy. This is the headquarters of the Chitral Scouts. They're actually the local regiment. All of the valleys up here have them, like the Khyber has Khyber rifles, and the motto of the Chitral Scouts is, "We cherish death more than most cherish life." I've just been chased away. Apparently you're not allowed to take photographs of the Chitral Scouts headquarters, but what he did tell me was that they're not part of the Pakistan Army. They're totally independent, part of the Northwest Frontier Protection, and they've been going for over 100 years.
We're now at Masdouj, having come from Chitral yesterday. Only 80 kilometres, but still took us something like 5 hours. This is the rather pretty place that we're staying, quite nicely appointed. Several little chalets, all with different names. They suffer from the inevitable features of Pakistani tourist accommodation. There's hot water sometimes, electricity sometimes, almost no wattage in the light bulbs whatsoever. Generally things are falling apart almost as soon as they're built. This is the daily ritual of packing the van. And up there is Nazim, our trusty driver.
Oh gosh, that doesn't look nice up there at all, does it? Ooh. Colleen looking with horror about where we're about to go.
Do you see follow the finger?
Follow the finger.
Up there.
Up there. Dreaded Shandur Pass. 3,700 metres, which is about 50,000 feet in anybody else's language, says Cameron, whose worried brow. And look at the worry on. Oh, Bruce's face, picture of worry. Worry. Here we are, we've just come up over the top of the Shandur Pass. You can see the big mountains in the background, and then lovely meadow, summer meadowland, down to a lovely alpine lake. Three Musketeers.
Very close together.
Isn't it the ultimate? The mud hut with the satellite on the roof.
Yeah.
These people don't lack for much. This is our hotel up on top of a mountain. People are enjoying a cup of tea there and a discussion of altitude sickness and how to fix it. This is coming down from Fenda on their way to Gilgit. Here's Tony and Rex wondering whether the rocks are going to come down on top of them. These school kids all wear uniforms. See, they all have nice blue shirts and grey trousers, and they love having their photo taken, and they think it's just good, and they think New Zealand is really good, eh?
And we've given them this.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. Oh, here we go. Considering the size and strength of the river, putting in a retaining wall like this might seem a fruitless exercise, but nevertheless it's being done, and in a typical Pakistani way, it's all being done by manpower, all being done by hand. There's not one bit of mortar or reinforcing to be seen anywhere, just all stacked stones, and it seems to work. People here live in some pretty inhospitable spots, and look at the way they get across the river. That's not a very safe looking contraption, is it? Well, here we are in Gilgit on our rest day. It's pissing down with rain, and riding a bike in the pissing rain is not fun, even in the tropics. We'll probably spend the day in the markets, and then at 5 o'clock we've got a polo game. Very difficult game to follow this. Ball's in under there somewhere. Oh, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Whoa. Here we are. Here we are, just about to set off from Gilgit, leaving our nice little hotel with the big hills in the background, and Bruce in the foreground looking like Zorro. There's Rex in the background looking like a goblin with a white beard. Fantastic. Oh. The bridge is free swinging, it's not fixed at the ends, which is quite eerie because it sort of goes up and down in front of you. It also swings from side to side a little bit. Here comes Rex, and he's about to meet a car. Then when you get to the end of the bridge, you go into this bloody black hole tunnel. It's pretty small too, fairly freaky, really claustrophobic. Here he comes. There, look at that. Well, this is where we've come from this morning, from Gilgit. We're now on the Karakoram Highway, heading up towards China. Guess where we are? Anyway, Rakaposhi's a mountain. You can see the glacier at the bottom, and then the mountain, it's just huge. This is the Baltic Fort, which is a citadel high above the Hunza Valley. where the Muir of Hunza used to live until fairly recently. It's about 800 years old, I think. Here's the looker after of the place, and he's got very, very big moustache. This is another part of the interior of the fort, more sort of an open living area, and is in fact open to the air, as you can see here. It's our guide.
And the whole structure is blackened because of the heavy smoke.
This is
for
the
several
kitchen in the
centuries.
fort.
And if you look at these gourds, which were making from the pumpkins to carry the water, and stone cooking pots.
Here's the rest of them. We might get some lunch soon. We're having lunch in a traditional Hunza restaurant. This is bread with a sort of stuffing of, tastes like sort of cottage cheese and something else. Very, very tasty. And that thing there is made with apricot kernels, was it? That one? And then this is a sort of wheat porridgey thing.
Are we going to Gumit tomorrow?
When they get down to the meat, they give you the real oil here on the bone. Well, we've just moved to our new accommodation called Eagle's Nest because we didn't think the views were good enough at the other one. And now we can see all the mountains, and we're way, way, way up above the town of Karakoram, which is way down there somewhere. We are now at Gulmit, which is 40 kilometres further up the Hunza Valley. We come from down there. We're just looking at a glacier. As you can see down there, it's pretty impressive. You can see how the surface is all sort of roughed up. Now, whereas the rest of us go exploring the scenery and pontificate on future political events, Colleen has a much more sedentary approach. She spends time with the people. Houses in this area, especially amongst the poor, are pretty crude affairs. Generally the livestock and the family all sleep together. That's fascinating. This is the town of Gulmit. All these little back alleys. We've no idea. We could be putting ourselves in extreme danger here.
Can we go left or straight ahead or right?
Oh, here's one of the locals saying hello. What a good idea. I think we've found our way home. I've been needing a chocolate fix for days, so this is my third one of these, and they're very good. This is how our wine is supplied in a water thing, just to disguise it. One of the very good things about it is there's nothing actually floating in it. Rex is our taster. If he falls over,
Smart too.
he's alright. Okay.
Hey, come on.
Can I have a smoke, Saeed? Oh, I think Saeed's been drinking hooch again, you see. That's what happens when Muslims get on the grog. Rex is going to be interviewing for Santa Claus soon. Well, somebody's talked us into coming up from Pasu up to Shimshal, up this road here, which is about the worst road I think I've ever been on. You can see this bridge here. Now, in a death-defying feat, Rex is going to go out to the middle of this and jump up and down. What courage! Yay! That's the view down. Well, here we are. This is Shimshal. God knows how they live here in the winter. It's just so barren, so far away from everything. Just extraordinary. Here's where we're having our lunch.
Is it?
It's very nice. You can traditional house. You saw everyone's
fireplace there.
everyone sleeps in here.
Very nicely done.
Rex is just about asleep. This is called malida, and it sort of tastes a bit cheesy with some pasta in it. And the stuff in the middle is very, very tasty. That's yak butter. We've also had some pancakes with yak butter on them, and some other more tortilla-y sort of chapati things with a very strong cheese flavour. Very nice too. And now we've got a chicken curry. This is probably about the best view I'm going to get, I think, of the mountains across the road from our hotel in Pasu. They're just astonishingly jagged. Well, this is Sost, and that's the barrier up there. That's one side of that is out of Pakistan and no man's land, up to the Kunjarab Pass, which is the actual border. Here's the chicken man preparing the chicken. They know how to pluck a chicken here, mate. They just take the whole lot off, skin and all. It's a dietary thing. Look at that, perfect. Waiting for execution. You do get a few natural hazards on the road. Here's Rex and Tony attempting to move this one. Not having much luck, I'm afraid. Here we are at the top of the pass, and as you can see, the weather's not terrific. My hands are freezing. And the bikes are not running very well because the air's getting just too thin. Yeah, I know, it's not getting enough gas. Well, this is China, and you'll see an immediate difference in the road quality. We've just come down to the first border post. Got the, they're all much better equipped than the Pakistanis. We're now in Kashgar, which is basically a border town. You can see here in this arch the very crude construction methods, consisting basically of mud bricks with a mud and straw daub on the outside. Can only exist for any length of time in an area that doesn't receive any rainfall at all. And down here on the flat plain you can see the typical local rural dwelling, commonly known as a yurt. Nowadays they seem to have a steel pole framework and also a large canvas covering, which gives them much more protection. This is literally a high drama at high altitudes. We're at 4,200 metres and Colleen's bike won't go. However, our friendly mechanic Tony here has sorted the problem out by taking the air filter out, cleaning it, and the bike seems to go much better. Hey, some camels, look at this. I think they're the Bactrian ones with sort of two humps. And here's the camel keepers over here. They're putting up a yurt. This is the first part of the wall. Here comes some people up to see what's going on. This is the Sunday market at Kashgar. This is a donkey and cart park.
Did you ask if you could take the phone?
I only asked him a question. He says he doesn't like his phone taken. Seeing how he paces. This is the cow market, and there are thousands of cows here. This guy over here is just offered 1,500 for the cow, but the guy won't take it. This is how you get a cow on a truck. It's brute force, see? Look at that, hey? Loading a bull. Oh no, he's alright. Oh, they've got some cows in there, that's why he's quite keen. The guy's got his taxi organised for him and his new cow. And this is the horse area. Guy over here, having great fun with this horse. Very spirited animal. He's got away from him. Quite well endowed for a small beast, aren't they? This fella seems very, very contented to stay where he is. Aren't they lovely? It's all lined up there. Look at this one. This has been specially prepared in Buffon style. Somebody making noodles. Keep putting flour on them so the individual bits don't stick together. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Fantastic. Tony and I have sat down with the locals to have some dinner. And here it is cooking over here, underneath all that steam and smoke.
Eric, Chris is really loving this.
See the drip catcher? Fantastic, no horse pee around here. This exotic beast, believe it or not, is an electric scooter. Most of the scooters here and most of the small transport vehicles are electric powered. We're still stuck in Kashgar trying to get our licenses and the bike's registered. We're supposed to have been gone this morning, but that's not going to happen. Whether it happens this afternoon or not remains to be seen.
Very just disgruntled.
Well, we've spent all morning trying to get our licenses and you can stop smiling. So you can see how disgruntled everyone looks. Bruce is a little angrier, but he's doing all right. At least he's got food, you see.
As soon as possible, could we try and get them to do the tests on the boat?
I think he's already happy to do that because as soon as you left, a man came out with all the forms, checked the bikes over.
Yeah. Maybe you talk to him and say, could we please accept this form and help us to get out of here because we're all
2 weeks here, otherwise we have to go back to New Zealand.
That's right.
Fucking unbelievable.
Well, here are the bikes out in front of the hotel, all minus their number plates as we wait for the Chinese ones to arrive. God, talk about a process. It's been pretty frustrating, but I think we'll be on the road in the next hour or two and everyone's going to be pretty happy. Here we all are at the top of the pass, 5,000 metres. You can see the big mountain in the background. Colleen had a slight accident on the way down. She's now fine, as you can see. And here's our truck. Look at that. Just a few minutes behind us.
How we going, guys?
Hey, don't rush around town tomorrow, you can do it tomorrow on the rest day. Don't rush around town tomorrow, you can do it tomorrow on the rest day.
We're going to go shopping. Well, woke up this morning, we're in Mazar and all the dust had gone and we've got a blue sky. Had snow overnight and this is the view from the front of our hovel pretty much. Our tent has had a good night despite the hail and the snow, but they all seem happy this morning. This is the Karakoram Mountains. To the right is K2, second highest mountain in the world. It just gets better and better. It's actually snowing here. Look at that, what a landscape. Well, she's very icy up here. Several of us have slipped off, including yours truly, who's managed to bend his bars and put mud all over his bike. But the truck's here. They made it. So we're all a bit ginger at the moment. See the snow or trucks. We're all really cold. All the bikes have got icicles all over them and mud and shit, and she's a hard road, boy. This is where we stayed last night. We sleep upstairs and the restaurant's downstairs, and as soon as we'd finished our meal we cleared away all the tables and parked our bikes in the restaurant. Most accommodating. This is the way they fill a truck with diesel. They park a 44-gallon drum next to the truck put a hose from the drum to the truck and then pressurise the drum using compressed air. Quite ingenious, really. Here's the daily drama of getting the bikes organised, filling them up with gas. Here's the main street of Rutok, which seems to be a town that's been totally rebuilt. Over here we have the outdoor pool parlour. All they do at night is cover the tables, stop the dust getting on them. There's no rainfall, so they don't have to worry about moisture at all. There is nothing historical or attractive or indeed anything else about Rutok. It's not a place anyone in their right mind would want to visit ever again. And down the end of each street they have a pretty ornamental gate. This area is all under snow during the winter, but during the summer the Tibetan farmers bring their animals up into these high meadows and have what they call summer camps. Ali is the capital of the Ali prefecture, which is pretty much west of Tibet. It's another new town, but they're very much facade. The standard of workmanship is appalling. This is our wondrous hotel, which despite being relatively modern in construction, has all the normal faults of Chinese modern hotels. Toilets don't flush, there's often no hot water, sometimes there's no water at all. This is an intriguing little device, and it's a solar kettle heater. And believe me, it works bloody well. You put your hand where that stand is and she is hot. You couldn't leave it there for more than an instant actually without getting burnt. Just ingenious. Well, today's a real treat. Leaving Ali, we've got 80 kilometres of tar-sealed road, and believe me, that's something we all welcome. And this is the sort of road the Chinese are building all over this area. It's our lunch stop after a very hard ride through sand and crap, and here's us all having lunch after a very, very hard ride.
And I'm sending a text from 140k from Ali, which itself is nowhere, and we are absolutely nowhere, and we've got perfect cell phone coverage.
That's Rex, by the way. You wouldn't recognise him with its new, who's that guy? Sean Connery beard, is it? Now the mountain I showed you before, the beautiful one, was called Mount Kailash, and it's a holy mountain to the Tibetan Buddhists, and they come and spend days walking around it and dying and all that sort of stuff. So we come up this little road to get a better view of Mount Kailash, and all we got was this poxy monastery. This is the village where the Mount Kailash pilgrims start their pilgrimage. I'd have to say it doesn't have any redeeming features at all. It's absolutely filthy. Villages in Tibet are pretty squalid as a rule, but I'd have to say this one beats the band. It's the rubbish heap. It's just right in the centre of town. It's the main street up there, and believe me, it gets a lot worse. This is a lake where we've decided to camp tonight. It's not the most salubrious camping spot, but at least it'll be out of the wind. Just enjoying a lovely sunny morning at 4,700 metres after a quiet night. Had our breakfast. This is Lake Kongen Tal on our way to Pariyang, which is another 180 kilometres of bad road. Here we are at the top of the pass on our way to Pariyang, about 50 kilometres into our journey. And like every pass in Tibet of any size, it's got the multitude of prayer flags. These are in slightly better condition than most of them. Rex is giving him some food. This is the hotel we're staying at. and as you can see, their sign writing is pretty good. This is the toilet block over here. Basically, you go up the stairs, you shit through a hole in the floor, and it gathers in a big tank underneath, which they empty out periodically. And again, you can see the sign writing is pretty damn good. This is the town of Pariang, pretty typical of Tibetan towns. Lots of mud brick houses with flat roofs, unending dust and garbage everywhere. There seems to be a huge house building program going on here. I mean, there'd be at least 100 houses under construction. Presumably they're expecting when the new road is finished, they're going to have far more Chinese living here, I would say. This is the main street of Pariang. Two things you can guarantee about Tibetan villages. Every village will have about a dozen tyre shops, tyre repair shops, and there's dogs everywhere. Never seen so many dogs. As you can see, it's a pretty grubby place. Main road in, main road out. These sort of modified rotary hoe things that tow trailers around seem to be very popular. They're one-cylinder diesels and they're used for practically everything. See, he's starting it up now. Big flywheel to keep it going. Hear it? It's going now, he's away. Look at that. Excellent utility vehicle. It's the sort of panorama you get. These just enormous great valleys stretching for miles. One of the things the Chinese do very well is gas stations. This is right out in the middle of nowhere. It hasn't been finished. It's obviously being planned for the road being completed. But look, we've got a nice little 200-metre stretch of tar seal here. Fantastic. Nothing to be frightened of. It's only a yak. And I'm told they're not dangerous. Those horns look pretty pointy. This one's got a white face, some of them have white tails, and some like the one over there, quite white. This is a typical street scene from Saga. You'll see in the foreground there one of about 1,000 tyre repair shops. It must be the largest business in Tibet, I think. You can see a stunning hotel. The big sign on the top of it. It's actually quite nice. The only thing it lacks is water. Not considered an essential part of a hotel here. This is a shot down the main street of Saga. As you can see, the buildings are mainly fairly new, having been built recently as part of the Chinese colonisation of Tibet. However, everything behind the facade is junk. These are the more traditional Tibetan style structures, mud brick, flat roofed, mud roof on top just to protect them from the snow. They don't get any rain at all, so and here's a blue Dongfeng truck, which is ubiquitous in this part of China. He's probably going to run me over about now. You might notice as I look around that there's about 1 million Toyota four-wheel drives, which are the most common transport vehicle other than trucks in Tibet. Toyota seem to have the market completely and utterly cornered. This particular group of vehicles has come from Katmandu and is transporting a large team of Indians who are on a pilgrimage to sacred sites. We're on the road now from Saga to Tingri. You could be in the South Island backcountry, frankly. Even the hills in the background, or the mountains I should say, are similar. But just a beautiful valley. We're at 5,050 metres, and like all passes in Tibet, she's regaled with the banners and streamers and flags that the Tibetans believe carry their prayers to the gods, I guess. What appeared to be a little gorge has now gone on for 35 kilometres, and it's real sore butt territory, I can tell you. But you can see how rugged the environment is. That's the road going along there. All of a sudden we seem to have gone into a different country altogether. Green and lush, and we're still pretty high obviously, but beautiful trees. This is something we haven't seen a lot of on our trip so far. Well, part of the reason why the scenery has been so fantastic is we've gone the wrong way and we're now in Nepal. So we've really fucked up somewhere. At the moment everyone's blaming everyone else, but I think we might as well just get on and go back. Still, we have seen some beautiful scenery. Just to give you a feel for what it's like waking up in the middle of Tibet in the morning after a night's shit camping. Fortunately the sun shines. You've got views like this to contend with. Well, we're now on our way to Tingri, and these are the fast bikes. We're just having a break because we're sort of halfway to the Friendship Highway, and the others will catch us up in due course, I suppose. Just had the most fantastic time riding over a plain really, but it was more than that. It was just like there was sand and there was boulders and there was all sorts of shit, but you just powered on and kept the bike going, and oh, it was just so much fun. We got a bit of stick yesterday for not reading the road signs, not that you could see them anyway, but we've taken very careful note of this one, and we know obviously that we're now on the right road, definitely. We're on our way to Old Tingri, which is on the Katmandu-Lhasa Friendship Highway, and I just kind of like the look of this village, so people in quite traditional costumes. This is the Snow Leopard Motel where we stayed prior to our trip to Everest. That's Choi Oyu in the background, well over 8,000 metres. Here we have the lady getting water from the well. We're on our way up to Everest and we're just going through this little Tibetan village. Pretty, isn't it? Here's the local prayer wheels where they go past and turn them. Every village seems to have one of these. Guess it's like having a church. Little kids playing by water as they do everywhere in the world. Doing the breakfast dishes. Need some water. She's a lovely old lady.
Wait.
And giving away stickers. You see, she's got it all under control here. It's going to turn into a riot shortly. Look at this guy. It's great.
There's Chris's grandfather.
Chris's brother.
Negotiating a difficult bit on the road here.
The brave man to bring his truck down there.
No, if you're in it, you'd be fine. Going very slowly, as I would be.
I tell you, I'll give Amway one thing, he's got big balls.
Yeah, I reckon so too.
Looks like he's going to make it, no problem. We're well up now on our way to Everest Base Camp, and this is the glacial moraine from one or other of the 1,500 odd glaciers there are in this area. We worked out that Everest is growing at 1 centimetre a year, and that equals 10,000 metres over a million years. And the reason it's not about 60 times higher than it is basically because this is all the stuff that's eroded down from it and the other mountains around here. Well, we're at 5,000 metres and there's still people living up here. Kids without shirts on playing in the river. Just extraordinary. Look at these two. Just playing around. She's got the pretty impressive belt buckle here.
Ask her how much she wants for a belt buckle, Cameron. She can go and buy another one.
Here's the little village they're all from.
See, they can't be...
God knows what they do here. The mountain just suddenly cleared, allowing us to get a decent sort of sighting of it. You can see we're looking at the north face now. That's spectacular. That's the face that the German climber Reinhold Meissner went up on his own without oxygen, straight up to the top and back again. Here's our donkey cart driver as we go up to base camp. Look at him, smiling face. You can see we're going to get some really clear views from up here. I don't know why we're doing this. Just to tick the box, I think.
Yeah.
It's like Tony and Mohammed are in the front line. They wouldn't let us bring our bikes up here for some reason. Oh, we're off. Here we go. Oh, this is going to be bone jarring, I can tell you. Oh.
Just a note of comparison with New Zealand, we are now sitting on top of Mount Cook plus another kilometre looking towards Mount Cook. That's how high this place is.
We're on a passing manoeuvre now. Oh, here we go. Oh, hey. We're off. Oh. This is base camp with the ubiquitous Chinese army presence, so God knows what they want up here. And she's pretty bleak on a day like this, and actually nothing to see at all. In fact, I'm quite sure I'm freezing cold. And I think it's a complete waste of time. I just about broken my back in that stupid pony cart. There you go, just to prove it, see? This is where the Oompa Loompas live. Here's a herd of yak packs. This is the pony cart rank. There's lots of pony carts waiting for travellers. It's like a taxi rank, only with horses. This is the entrance to the Rombok Monastery. Used to have something like 300 male thingos and about the same number of nuns. Now has about 30 priests and just a few nuns. Clearly this is an essential part of modern religious observance. Satellite TV. Hello. How are you? Very well, thank you. This is one of the internal courtyards, quite prettily decorated. It's Rex, not to be confused with any of the devotees. Here's the sort of big stoupery thing out the front of the monastery. All the flags sending prayers to heaven. Coming back from Everest, we took a different route. How's this for loops? And this is only part of it. We're just going up over a 5,000 foot pass back to Tingri. Well, I'm top of the hill now, over 5,000 metres. You can see the road winding away down there. In fact, I can see our truck, I think. There it is. It's a pretty awesome view though.
Just under 5,200 metres.
Just under 5,200 metres, Rex tells me. This is the hotel itself. So to get an idea for the general styling. I thought it'd be worthwhile recording the excellent ablution facilities in our latest hotel. You can have 2 people at once squatting, and it just feeds into not even a tank really, just a drain underneath which runs out in the adjacent field. It's Rex in my room.
Do it tomorrow morning with
3 beds. We haven't actually got any lights, but we decided to sleep in our sleeping bags because we're not quite sure about the bedding they've provided. Very attractive wallpaper, quite low ceilings, and also relatively low electrical fittings, as you can see, which don't work. This is the view we should have got from base camp yesterday. That's the north face of Everest, perfectly clear today. That's the famous north face, and out to the left is the North Ridge, which is the ridge the Chinese first climbed Everest in about 1963. Hillary actually came up the other side via the Lhotse face. We're now in Jiangmu, which runs down the side of a very, very narrow and spectacularly steep valley. This is the street scene of Jiangmu. The whole village zigzags up the side of a cliff basically. That large building, which is undoubtedly China Telecom. We've come to learn that all large buildings in all cities are China Telecom. This is pretty spectacular. This is in Jiangmu. Comes straight out of the city. Get a nice view of the city above. Couldn't get more of a contrast to Tibet. Lush green bush, beautiful waterfalls. Still on our way to Katmandu. You can see how heavily cultivated the area is. Quite beautiful. Streets of Katmandu. This is a Buddhist temple in Katmandu. It's about 1,500 years old, the original building anyway. Not quite sure what this is all about.
Vegetative Buddha, which is represent is inside
the temple. How's this for a chariot? And it's pulled along by lots of people with ropes and hanging on to that thing at the front, I suppose. Little public water spouts with brass sort of spouty things. The detailing on these houses is rather nice. This is another temple. This is a Buddhist temple, but looks more like a Hindu one. They're all the same thing. 1700s.
It's not a World Heritage Site because you've got to have 30 metres and open to the streets.
Really?
Century.
It's a cool door.
Katmandu Valley, in between 14th to 17th century, the Nepal, whole Nepal. This is the part you can see. You can see in the decorative temples.
This is 15th century.
In that time, in this topic, so
This is Rex's
new
long lost
in compared
cousin.
to that.
This is apparently the feeding ceremony for the god Vishnu. See for the little fellow over there? It's cool, eh? Here's his proud grandmother, I think. Here's the little fella, see? There he is. We're in the courtyard now.
This temple
of
is
what
constructed
is
in
the
12th
Buddhist
century.
centre of
So this
Patan.
one is called
Been on this site
which is
for
called
12 centuries.
Golden Temple. In that
It's
time,
called the Golden
12th century.
Temple. Even though it
So the
looks
whole
like
body is
Hindu, it's actually
center,
100%
you can
Buddhist.
see the-
Buddhism in Kathmandu is very mixed up and very sort of close to Hinduism.
This piece is it's linked to the Hindu religion.
Very brassy, but here's the Buddha. This is our bikes at the end of the trip, parked in front of the Katmandu Hive, a splendid establishment, complete with swimming pools, free drinks, lovely food, wine cellar, and all the normal things that we expect out of life.
Since we completed our journey, China has completely rebuilt Highway 219 and the Karakoram Highway and replaced them with motorways. We must have been one of the last groups to have the privilege of riding through this area while it was still comparatively underdeveloped. A true natural wonderland.